guys, Jeff Clark, Sources Apprentice. It's the end of September. It's an absolutely beautiful day, but despite the sunshine and the lovely mid-60s temperatures, there's not very many garage sales going on here because people have their thoughts turned toward fall, school's in session, so people aren't really thinking garage sales. I drove around my town and the neighboring town of Napanee, and I only found like 6 garage sales, and I only purchased from 2 of them. So I've got some good stuff to show you, though. I had some really good returns on my money. Anyway, I want to show you that, and I also want to show you a relationship buy in which I made a really good purchase and a really bad purchase. But we'll see if I can mitigate the loss. All right, here we go. So one garage sale I went to had a whole bunch of baby stuff. And I didn't buy a lot of it because it was kind of overpriced, but I did get these things, which should have really, really good return. Got these muslin burp cloths. I've actually sold these before. Bought them on clearance from Meijer, not at $13.79, closer to the $7 that I paid at the garage sale. And I put them up here because I didn't want to put them down on the concrete and get the fabric all gross. And that's another thing. When I send things like this into Amazon, I always polybag them because it's a warehouse, and warehouses, they can get dirty. It just happens. So anything with fabric exposed, I always polybag. That's a good tip for you. Oh, sorry, bought it for $7. This sells for $22. Good rank in baby. This is a Primo portable water dispenser, paid $5. That sells for $25. Got this, I don't even know what that is. Together pull-on knit carrier. Oh, okay, baby carrier, got it. Paid $8 for that. That sells for $34. And these Moby wraps back here have a crazy low rank, like 6,000 in baby. And I was sad she only had 2 of them. I paid $12 for each, and they sell for $50 a piece. Now, one thing to watch for when you're buying baby stuff, a lot of baby brands are restricted. So when you pull them up on Amazon, when you're sourcing, make sure you click through to make sure that the brand's not restricted. Anyway, that was one garage sale I went to. Here's another one that I went to. Grabbed a couple of aluminum pots, and these were kind of a strikeout for me, which is kind of unusual for aluminum. But this is a Century stock pot with a wood handle, just kind of cool. And it's got this little wood rack in there, which I think might be a homemade deal. That really does not look professional, but that might, sell it. Okay, the aesthetic might help sell it, and I hope so, because the only sold I found was $9 plus shipping, and I paid $2.50, so a couple dollars profit, but only a couple. Same here. This is a Miro double boiler. I paid $3 for that, and I didn't look these up at the sale, but the sold that I found on this was $9 plus shipping. So I don't know. I'll see if I can, price them a little higher, make a little better money out of them. This is filters. Filters are always something that I look at. This is ranked 28,000 in tools, which is a good rank. Paid 75 cents. Sells for $10, which doesn't sound for a lot, but because it's so small and light, the payout on this is over $5. So there's pretty good profit there. Euro Chopper, paid $2. That will sell for $25. Good rank in kitchen. Veg-O-Matic. So earlier this summer, I had 2 Ron Popeil Veg-O-Matics, Ronco, and I sent them into Amazon. And that's another good tip for you guys. Anytime I find vintage stuff like this, I automatically think eBay. But it's surprising how many vintage things have listings on Amazon. And if they don't, sometimes you can create them and sell them. So those 2 Veg-O-Matics that I sent in earlier this summer, they both sold within a week at $50 a piece. And they had the original box, even though it was a little boogered up, and I had to clean them up. I'm going to have to clean this one up too. It looks a little gross. But one thing I did with those, and that I always like to do with vintage stuff, is I take a bunch of pictures and load them to my offer so that people can see exactly what they're getting. All right, because vintage stuff, it's used, they're concerned it's going to be gross. So if I can show them pictures of what they're getting, that's a good tip. And hey, $3 to $50, I will do that every day of the week. I've also been selling a lot of printers on Amazon. Now this one I could not find a listing on Amazon, but there is a sold listing on eBay in used condition, which mine is, okay, for $170, and I only paid $10. Now, somebody asked me when I posted one of my printer sales, they said, why is somebody buying a 15-year-old printer when there's better technology now? You know, I don't really have an answer for that, except to say, you know, I don't ask why, just, you know, cash the check. But honestly, you know, there's a lot of people that they'll get tied to one particular brand or one particular model of something, anything. You know, whether it's a vacuum or a blender or a printer, and then they don't want to learn something new. So they go online and they search the exact thing that they've had for 15 years, their printer, and they'll pay $170 for a 15-year-old printer. And I don't know what the date is on this one. I'm just using 15 as an arbitrary number. But you understand what I'm saying. Okay, and here's another great example of that. I paid $10 for this Rainbow vacuum. I don't know if you guys know anything about Rainbow vacuums, but they are unparalleled in quality. This is a true story. My mom bought a Rainbow vacuum in, I think it was 1948 or 49, and when she died in 2012, that sucker was still running. I mean, they're just incredible. So this one is a Rainbow SE with the really groovy wood grain look on it, and a sold listing on eBay right now is at $250 for one in pretty much the exact same condition mine is. So I was very, very happy to pay 10 bucks. Okay, now here's my relationship buy. One of my band directors, he knows what I do, and he also likes to go to garage sales, but he doesn't sell anything. So he's given me stuff before, he's sold me stuff before. He contacted me and he said, hey, I got a bunch of Craftsman toolboxes here. Do you want them? And I'm like, well, yeah, Craftsman toolboxes, that's pretty cool. So he said, I'll sell all these to you for 50 bucks. Now, these are vintage Craftsman toolboxes, okay, and these sell regularly at 50 a piece, okay, and that's the smaller ones, not even the bigger ones. I'll probably get 60, 75 for those, okay. So 50 bucks for all these, heck yeah. And he threw in these two in the front, which are not Craftsman, so those will probably just go to Goodwill, because that one's unbranded and this one's a junk brand. But of course, while I'm there, he has to show me through all of his other buys and stuff and tell me stories and whatever. And we came across these two scroll saws. These are Sears Craftsman scroll saws, and these are the big heavy suckers, you know, that I used to use in shop class, you know, when I was a kid. And he said, what do you think, 50 bucks for these? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And he said, you think you can sell them? And I said, well, I don't know, we're about to find out. So I looked them up, and I think this may have been a bad buy, because this one does have a motor, but it's, I mean, the cord's frayed, it's not connected. This one does not have a motor. And it looks like these, I couldn't find these exact models, but other Craftsman of this size going for maybe 20, 25, 30 bucks plus shipping. I don't want to ship this big heavy sucker. So, you know, I may just have a couple of boat anchors here, and I don't even boat. But you know what? The name of the business here is, if you make a $50 mistake, be able to mitigate it somewhere else. Okay, so I sell one of these boxes and I've covered my $50 cost here. I sell another box and I've covered my boat anchors, right? And then Steve just threw in this light stand just for kicks. It's missing bulbs. Let's see if I can get bulbs for it. Brand new, that's selling for 225 bucks. That's also Sears Craftsman. This is obviously not new. It's got some wear on it, but should be able to make at least a little profit off of it. So I think I did pretty well. I had a really fun day, okay? Even though I didn't get a whole lot of stuff, I've got some good profit here. So leave me some comments and let me know what you are finding in your sourcing.